On fitness too. David Chene's with us, of course, co-founder of Kennedy Lewis, just backed very profitably F45 when it came to the market, doubling your money in less than a year. You're a man who looks at disruption in all its guises, either a company being disrupted or a company doing the disruption. In this case, when you were mid-COVID, was a gym company like F45 doing the disrupting or being disrupted?
I think it was a combination, actually. I mean, we look at the fitness space and have for the last several years, and whether it's new technologies, new modalities, new kind of innovations, it was clear there was already some form of disruption that was happening in the space. And in F45's case, when COVID hit, it was clear to us that they had a more flexible business model, more sustainable business model. When you look at the franchisee network and the economics to franchisees, it was just a better deal for franchisees. It was really the engine of growth for F45. Great technology, excellent management team led by Adam Gilchrist. And we thought and we still believe that health and fitness is going to continue to be on top of mind, given we've been dealing with a health crisis for the last 18 months. So Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, health and fitness obviously has been on the top of the mind. Yeah. But of course, it's also shifted a lot. Obviously, during the pandemic, a lot of people chose to do it at home, or not really chose. They had to do it at home. I am curious, just looking in the current context here of, we're talking now about the Delta variant and potentially new requirements with regards to mask wearing and other things. With regards to just your general investment strategy here, how much do you gird yourself for the possibility that maybe the COVID crisis isn't over and some of our behavior may revert back to what we had during the height of the pandemic?
It's a great question. I think from our standpoint, we're very fortunate that we have flexibility of capital where we can invest in various different sectors, some defensive, some more growth-oriented. From a defensive standpoint, when we think about the Delta variant, what could this ultimately become and create, problems? Healthcare is a big focus for ours. We spend a lot of time in earlier stage companies, FDA-approved, commercialized products, reimbursement rates that are set, kind of increasing and improving the standard of care, but they're hitting their growth stride, right? And no matter what happens in the marketplace, we believe these companies are going to grow and really improve the standard of care over time. Power is another space that we spend time in. You think about the energy transition over the next 30 years, we're all trying to meet in terms of carbon emissions. It's a $73 trillion number globally, and it could be 4 to 6 in the U.S. alone. And everyone's going to continue to plug in phones and cars, and so electricity demand and power will continue to be a big opportunity. And those are very defensive in nature and give us the opportunity to deploy there when there's things like the Delta variant.
In the middle of earnings season, every CEO is talking about supply chain disruptions and inflationary input costs. What are you seeing?
We think that we're going to see that for a while. I think if you go back to 2019 in July, there were 14 cities in the U.S. that were, flying to China somewhere between 10 and 150 flights a month. Today, there's 2. And those are 10 to 25 flights per month. So there's a lot of disruption that still exists, and there's a lot of normalization that needs to happen. Then you have these regional outbreaks with things like the Delta covenant, the Delta, and so what you have is you have kind of a lack of global coordination, around supply chain management. And the longer that goes, particularly with the U.S. consumer and how healthy it is, and you're seeing it in equities, you're seeing debt levels down, liquidity's up, assets are up. There's that demand pull from the consumer at the same time that you have these supply constraints. Yeah. And so we do believe for the next several years, you'll see these supply disruptions, and it will ultimately sort of show up in reshoring of manufacturing in the U.S. And so that's
interesting. David, what's interesting also about you is the way you've pivoted your own career, and you're a man who knew distressed debt investing a lot. Then you sort of moved into, well, what you do now is, sometimes it's a distressed company that you're helping, but sometimes it's a growth company, as you're saying, and you shoot it through in these mid-sized businesses into the growth trajectory. When you look at the disruption within the financial sector at the moment, we're here on a day where the IPO of Robinhood is perhaps not going quite as smooth, not quite to the moon as many a meme investor would have wanted. What do you make of investing right here, right now, with big sums of money into public markets?
I think it's a function of liquidity in the markets. There's a lot of confidence in the markets. The consumer's in good shape. There's just tremendous liquidity. And, I am a believer that, over time, the markets will normalize. And, we do believe that in our space, at least, when you think about what we do every day for a living, we're very focused on the private space. We're very focused on capital structure solutions, partnering with management teams, no different than F45, and really taking a medium-term view in terms of how we can help them grow their business. So from a retail trading standpoint, we don't really see the potential risk to our business. And, given the volatility in the credit markets through COVID, we do think the markets are ever going ever more private in nature, particularly for credit products.
My co-anchors are gonna hate me because the only reason we really wanted you on is to talk about the Ironman. This was all really just a cover. Just kidding. Rank for us. Bike, swim, run. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite?
It's bike, then run, then swim. Swim's tough.
How many Ironmans have you done? Just to sell it for our audience as to why this is a relevant question.
I've done 8 and had
Eight?
had the pleasure of racing in Kona twice. So it's been a part of my life for a long time, and we all need balance in our lives, and for whatever reason
You call an Ironman balance?
Well, it's a daily routine. It's a daily routine, and then you put yourself through a challenge.
That's right.